Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Master Duel free-to-play account. Today we are taking a look at the brand new deck list we'll be running, Invoked Runick. Now the Invoked part I'm not 100% about, but the Runick part was very expensive, and we happened to get lucky and draw most of the cards we needed for it. Today we're taking a peek at the deck list we put together. We'll start with the Invoked part since it's pretty small. You run triple Alistair, double Magical Meltdown. I was having crazy luck with the Alistairs. I kept drawing multiples of them in this gigantic deck list and not drawing any Runic cards, so I cut one out. But this is probably the best way to play it. This Magical Meltdown says when you activate it, you can search an Invoker from your deck to your hand, and then the activation of your cards and effects that include an effect fusion summon cannot be negated. So what you would probably want to do, I'm still learning the deck, but you probably want to start with the Invoker side. Go ahead and, play Magical Meltdown, normal summon Invoker, link off into Artemis, and then you can then use the invocation that you search to summon, where is he? Invoked Makaba. If you wanted to go the other route, you can link into Artemis and then link into... no, you can go into any Runic monster and then link into Gravity Controller, and that'll get you into your invoked Kaliga. Now, Makaba is like a Ultimate Providence on legs. Once per turn, when a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated, you can send the same type of card from your hand to the graveyard to negate and banish, which is very useful, especially in the mirror match. Just play one because you don't really have the room for anything else. Then Kaliga, we'll go with Kaliga. So Kaliga is the Dark Fusion. You can use that with Alistair and any Dark. It says each player can only attempt to activate one monster effect per turn. Notice it's not, since he was on the field, so if you summon him after an effect has already been activated, you can no longer attempt to activate any more monster effects, and then each player can only attack with one monster during each battle phase. So this is a mini floodgate that you can summon off of the Alistair. Your other Alistair fusion is the Invoked Agoides. Agoides is Alistair the Invoker plus any fusion monster, so you can typically use that with one of your Runic guys. It's pretty easy to get. And then it says when it's special summoned or a monster is special summoned to your opponent's field, you can target one monster your opponent controls and destroy it. You can only use this effect once per turn, and then the other effect is irrelevant since we don't attack in this deck. So that's the whole Alistair package that I'm playing. Another thing you can do with the Alistair is, since he's level 4, the Kaliga's level 4, and then your Gary the Runic Fangs is level 4, you can stack those into a Baguska, the terribly tired Tabor. He's adorable, he's awesome, he's one of my favorites from the Pendulum Magicians, and so we're bringing him over here. Another good card once Tier Limit and Sprite come out is you're probably going to want to put an Abyss Dweller in here. I would probably cut the Gravity Controller or a Kaliga for that. I just didn't have the UR material for that, or else I probably would have made it for this. Well, let's see, yeah, that's pretty much it for the Invoke package and the extra stuff. The only other things we run are Lightning Storm just because I have it. The Instant Fusion is great because it can summon any of this top row. Any of your Runics can be summoned off of it, and they also all activate off a special summon, not fusion summon, so Instant Fusion will 100% do that, and Invoke Kaliga has no restrictions, so Instant Fusion can summon that as well. It's just a free extender in a deck that really doesn't need one. The terraforming, obviously, for the Runic Fountain, and for the Magical Meltdown if we already have the Runic Fountain. And the Forbidden Droplet. So Forbidden Droplet's very good in this deck. Since you mostly just want to be dealing with monsters, and you can actually... I believe it's one of these cards activates off of any quick play spell card. I think it's this one, yeah, Runic Allure. Every time a quick play spell card activates, you can banish the top card of the deck. This is what you need to win the mirror match, and if you ever actually want to deck somebody out and not just make them surrender. Yeah, other than that, let's get into the Runic cards. You start with the Fountain. This is the main centerpiece of the whole deck. It says you can activate Runic quick play spell cards from your hand during your opponent's turn. And once per turn, if you activate a Runic quick play spell card, you can target up to 3 Runic quick play spells in your graveyard, place them on the bottom of the deck in any order, then draw the same number of cards. This is what makes the deck crazy. Even if you're only using let's say 2 Runic cards, and then you get to draw 2 cards, and then most likely considering just the top row is non-Runic, you're basically refreshing your quick play abilities as you go. You want to do the 3, but don't overextend trying to get the 3. The 2 is great. A Pot of Greed is a Pot of Greed. Your other great card is Runic Tip. Runic Tip can grab any other Runic card and add it back to your hand. You can do the Fountain, you can do any other card that you need at the time. The main ones are Flashing Fire, which destroys a special summon monster, Runic Destruction, which destroys a spell and trap, and Runic Freezing Chains, which negates a effect monster on the field. Those are your main ones. Those are your main ways to interact with your opponent. And then Runic Slumber is a defensive card. You target a monster on the field, the next time that monster will be destroyed this turn. It's not. Also cannot attack, but we don't care. You have your Runic Smithing Storm, which is banish cards from the top of your opponent's deck up to the number of cards they control. This is how you would actually get the rest of the cards off the top of their deck when you're trying to go in for the kill. Same with the Golden Droplet. It says draw 1 card, then banish the top 4 from their deck. So both of these can remove large amounts all at once. And then you have the Runic Dispelling. If your opponent adds a card from the deck to their hand, except during the draw phase, you can discard a random card from their hand and banish from the top of the deck. Now they all, except for the field spell and the continuous spell, all the quick plays share the effect that they can special summon 1 Runic monster from your extra deck to the extra monster zone. Now it's specifically the Link monster zone, and each one of these has their own effect. So the Huggin will let you discard a card and add the Runic field spell from your deck to your hand. This would be your first turn play if you don't have the Runic Fountain or a Terraforming. And then this card can also, if another card you control would be destroyed by card effect, you can banish this card you control instead. And then if it's destroyed, return it to the extra deck, but that doesn't typically happen. But its protection effect is an instead effect, which is amazing. So that happens at destruction. So if, say, your opponent tries to Harpy Feathers Duster you, Mystical Space Typhoon, whatever, trying to destroy your field spell, you can summon this on a chain with any one of your quick play Runic spells, and then she'll summon at the end of the chain, and then when it's going to be destroyed, she will just banish herself instead. So that's amazing. It also works for any card. So whatever they're trying to destroy, if you don't want them to, they won't. The Moonin is pretty good too. He says if this card is special summoned, discard a card and add the Runic Continuous Spell, which is your Allure, to your hand. You don't always do that. His other ability is pretty great. When your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a Runic card you control or a set card you control, you can banish this card and negate the activation if you do destroy it. That's great because it protects if you have a Forbidden Droplet set, or if you set an Alistair the Evoker. There's reasons you would do that. It's not very typical, but it still protects them. It's pretty great. His last effect is every turn during the end phase you gain 1,000 life points. So this is what you would do to stall out and keep yourself healthy. So then your last one is Gary the Runic Fangs. He's definitely the least powerful of them all, but he is the level 4 that lets you go into Xyz plays. He says he cannot be destroyed by card effects. If he's summoned from the extra deck, you can target a non-quick play Runic spell in your graveyard. That'll be one of these two, and add it to your hand. And when this card is destroyed by battle, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. So this card doesn't come up very much, except for if you want to do the rank 4, or if you just don't have a Runic and you have some extra Runic cards in your hand. Let's see. yeah, that's about it for the deck. So this version of the deck revolves around trying to deck your opponent out. This is um, as close to pure as I'm gonna go for this deck. Uh, I'm not honestly super thrilled with the way this deck plays. I'd like a more concise win condition than this, so we'll probably look into other versions of the deck. But for right now, this is pretty good. I have a few replays, and let's jump right into those. Duel. Alright, so for this first replay, we've opened up with the golden droplet that we're going to activate the summon Huggin. Then we'll go ahead and discard to search the field spell. I'm just going to discard a droplet because I don't need to. So grab the fountain, play that, activate the tip. Since we already have destruction in our hand, we're going to grab the flashing fire. That's the spell pop and the special summon pop. And then since we have 2 in the graveyard, we activate the fountain to draw 2. I didn't go over that effect. And we draw into our Alistair, so we're going to normal summon, search the invocation. We can go ahead and use it, and both of these two to go right into the Makaba. Now Makaba is going to give us a monster negate or a spell card negate, with the invocation returning the Alistair back to the hand. So once per turn with the Runic Field spell, when you activate a quick play, you can return up to 3 from the graveyard back to the deck to draw that many cards, which is absolutely broken. So we are playing against a reptile deck right now. So he's going to put a venom counter on our monsters since in back row. And in the end phase, we're going to flashing fire and destruction. So flashing fire is going to summon the moon in from the deck, and then destruction is going to pop the back row. Then we activate the Runic Fountain to draw 2 and return those to the deck. We draw into a slumber and another fountain, and then we gain 1,000. It's our turn. Now this deck is pretty crazy. It typically frustrates people into surrendering. I haven't actually decked anyone out yet, though I do have some other builds in the works. So we go ahead and use our Alistair Invocation, and this is the other main summon you want to use in this, Agoides. Agoides on special summon will pop a monster, and anytime your opponent summons a monster, or special summons a monster, you can pop a monster. We're going to go ahead and just activate Runic Slumber. He's going to chain his monster, and I decide to let it go through, reducing our attack to 0. We're going to summon the Gary from the deck, activate the Runic Field spell, drawing. We draw into a flashing fire. That's amazing. We go ahead and invocation, add the Alistair back to the hand, and play another Runic Fountain because of course it's a soft once per turn, but I realize it can't activate any of these, so I go ahead and pass it over. His turn, he Pot of Extravagance, and we're just going to let it go through. I don't really care what he draws. It seems like we have it under lock. We save our negates. So he's going to try to special summon. We decide, no, we're going to banish you instead. So Makaba discards one of the Alistairs to banish that and negate. And he says, Lava Golem, get out of here. He should have done that first, but he's going to Monster Reborn our own Makaba. So on special summon, Agoides is going to activate to try and pop the Makaba, and he's going to go ahead and try to negate our Agoides. But we have the freezing curses, not chains. I was thinking of ice barriers for some reason. And that is the monster negate. So we negate, banish some cards off the top of the deck, and get our Makaba back. And we're going to go ahead and just draw 1, because I don't think he's going to special summon, right? So we go ahead and draw our card for the turn. And that is the Allure, I want to say. Yeah, Runic Allure. So this card will activate every time you play a quick play to banish 1 extra card off the top of the deck. So we're going to Alistair, Invocation. I thought about playing a Purgatrio just in case of this exact scenario, but I didn't. But we're going to go ahead, we're going to go into Kaliga. Invocation back into the hand, or back into the deck. Alistair back to the hand. Then we Freezing Curses to summon Moonin. Allure's gonna banish one, Fountain's gonna draw one. Such a crazy deck. And we're gonna go ahead and pass it and gain 1,000 life. So we have the counter to the Lava Golem there. We can just keep it for now. Though we can tribute it for the droplet. So he goes ahead and uses card destruction, discarding all our cards and giving us more quick play. I actually went to activate one and he surrendered. Crazy. Yep, so for the next one, let's see, did we get to go first again? No, so we are going up against Scareclaw, so this should be good. So we got the field spell, search for the Rykart. Rykart is going to search for the Splash, which I believe is the negate. He's going to Pot of Desires. I think he's looking for another monster. Reinforcements. Another Rykart. I think he messed up here, but he has a whole bunch of back row and he's going to pass it over. Now here I probably should have Alistair'd first, but I'm very new to the deck, so I just went ahead and shotgun the Fountain because I drew it. I have double tip. I got the golden droplets. I'm ready to go. So we activate the tip, chain the droplets to summon. I could have also activated the tip to search and then do that, but he has back row, so I just wanted to get Moonin on the field to protect. We'll go ahead and shuffle 2 back to draw 2. Beautiful, we have a full array. Ultimate Slayer is pretty but useless because, I don't know, it just never seemed to come up. I would not play it again. I would replace it, that's what I did. Go ahead and activate the Invocation. He's going to Impermanence in our column. We're going to go ahead and activate, since if Impermanence does not negate its target, it will not negate the column. And then we're going to go ahead and Runick Destruction to pop that trap card because it has an Omni Negate built into it. Since we tributed, we don't have a fusion monster on the field for Invocation, and it fizzles, and the turn has changed. So it's his turn. He thinks he's done some good. He goes ahead, plays another field spell to search. Gets the Vsauce. Pot of Desires, draw 2. We're going to tip just to grab a card that we need. I forget which one, and the Ash Blossoms. So this deck is susceptible to that, though we are going to Slumber just to summon a monster. And this is going to chain up for our Runic Fountain and draw us some more cards since we can't search. Now Gary's not too bad in situations like these, since if he's destroyed he'll pop a card, so it makes you not want to. And we're going to go ahead and draw 3 off of that. We only draw 1 Runic card, which is unfortunate, and it's Golden Droplets, which is one of the worst ones in a situation like this. And he's going to go into the Baron de Fleur and go ahead and pop our field spell. So we just let it go, we don't worry about it. He destroys the Gary. Gary's going to activate to destroy him, so he has to negate it. So now Baron's just a beat stick for a turn. So we have time. We have the Fountain, we have the Droplets, he has 2 back rows. If I had a Synchro Monster, Ultimate Slayer would be alright, but I don't have room for something like that. You go ahead and activate the Terraforming. We would have there grabbed the Magical Meltdown and combo from there, but the surrender is the more typical outcome. So these last 2 are going to display that very well. So, well, not the last 2, but these next 2. So instead I'm going to talk a little bit about this variant's weaknesses. Um, this deck can get really clogged up. The Alistairs are great because they do fill in your normal summon every single turn. So um, in a deck where you might miss out on a whole mechanic of the game by accident, Alistair kind of fills that role, doing all the different summons every single turn. But once you have in this scenario, two Alistairs, or say you draw an Alistair and an Invocation, which for some reason Alistair players always do. You always have the Alistair, you always have the Invocation. It always happens that way. But yeah, if you have those, the Magical Meltdowns, the Invocation, the Droplet, you see this, the Terraforming, none of those do enough for you. Um, so that is the only downside I see, is that they get cloggy, they don't get used. Um, I've seen it used with some other things here on YouTube. I think I saw Orcus, looked pretty neat. I've never played Orcus before. I guess a small spoiler, I might have played around with the Altergeist with them a little bit. It might be better than you expect. We'll do a video on that pretty soon. um, yeah, pretty much I'm looking for something to mix this with. It seems very splashable, and I love the cards, but I want a way to actually win. Alright, so let's just jump into this last one. I know this video is pretty long, but I wanted to cover this deck for you guys since it's new and rogue. We're going to open the fountain and play the Runick Destruction to summon the Noonan. Noonan's going to search the Allure, and we're going to go ahead and draw one. Play Allure. We're going to end, since we're not going to be able to draw when we play these Runick cards. You want to try to revolve around the once per turn. He has the Harpy's Feather Duster, which is unfortunate. We should have summoned the Huggin and Sword Soul. So this deck is the weakness to Runick because of a monster you will see in just a moment. It's this, the Sword Soul Sinister Sovereign. So, every time a monster activates its effect, he can banish it and then deal damage. And every time a spell card, well, once per turn, when you activate a spell card, he can banish it and deal damage, which is a huge problem for this deck since we don't want our cards banished, we want them in the graveyard. So we go for the field spell, we get ashed, we play the Alistair, he's going to Grandmaster negate, and we are totally boned. Turn change, I've basically given up at this point, so I'm just going to go ahead and let him wipe me out. He's 200 damage shy, so on our turn we're going to say, you know what, I know what your card does. We'll go ahead and just play the Droplet, use the first effect, and he is going to deal the damage and take us out. So yeah, those are the replays I have for today. Those are my first 5 duels with Runick. Always included the losses, like I say. Thank you, like, comment, and subscribe, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.